It's official, everybody. Shadow HoOh is going to be coming to Pokemon Go as the next Shadow Legendary Pokemon. This Shadow Legendary Pokemon is going to be available from June 17th to September 1st, which is a pretty long rotation compared to what we've actually been used to getting. Now, there is going to be an additional special research that is going to come out alongside Shadow HoOh, which is going to be called a 7-colored shadow. This is likely going to be extremely similar to the past special research that we've gotten in regards to beating Giovanni. Again, if you guys have been saving up your rocket radars, which I've made a few videos on, I'm going to link those in the top right corner as well as in the description below. Now, I understand that some people might be thinking that Shadow HoOh is going to be extremely meta relevant in the game, but it's actually not as great as you might think, and that Shadow Moltres might actually be better than the Shadow HoOh. But we're going to go ahead and dive into all those details right here in a second. Before we do that though, if you guys do find this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button down below. It would help me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. And of course, if you want to see more videos like this in the future, then I would definitely consider hitting that subscribe button as well. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at Shadow HoOh. So first of all, I want to go over the base stats for HoOh, not including the Shadow bonus. It's going to have an attack stat of 239, a defense stat of 244, and an HP stat of 214, making it one of the best, well-rounded Pokemon in the game. I mean, these base stats are phenomenal. It's really not lacking anywhere, but when it comes down to the move pool for HoOh, that is really where it's lacking in my opinion. So HoOh is going to have the fast move Incinerate. That's going to be your go-to fire fast move. Definitely makes sense with the stab bonus. And then additionally for the charge moves, you have the options of Brave Bird, Fire Blast, Solar Beam, and then also the legacy move Earthquake. So this definitely gives it some viability when it comes down to PvP, but when we're just focused on the raid/gym meta, Incinerate and Fire Blast is going to be the way to go, just given that you actually can take advantage of the stab bonus. You also have the option of going for Incinerate and Brave Bird, but in my opinion, I would really just stick with the Double Fire. So now let's go and take a look at the DPS times TDO spreadsheet on GamePress, and we can see where Shadow HoOh actually lies in the meta for raids and gyms. So I know it seems like Shadow HoOh is going to take advantage of that juicy Shadow bonus, but it doesn't actually benefit that much, mainly because Incinerate is a really slow fast move. It sure does deal a ton of damage, but it is a really slow fast move, and Fire Blast takes a ton of energy to charge up. If HoOh had a different charge move like Flamethrower, I can definitely see this being in the top of the meta, but given that it just has access to the current move pool that it does have, it doesn't really make it anything special. Just given that these moves aren't that crazy, you're still going to be better off with a Shadow Moltres in my opinion that still falls at the top of the meta, and there's also going to be a range of options in between a Shadow Moltres and Shadow HoOh, so you really just have a lot of flexibility here. So overall, that's going to be where Shadow HoOh stands in the fire type meta for raids/gyms, but now let's take a look at the PvP side of things. So I'm going to go ahead and read a tweet from PvPoke right now that they posted recently. And so they said, Shadow HoOh's coming. While HoOh may be overshadowed by Talonflame, the most exciting part is that this will be the first time HoOh is going to be available for the Great League. Regular HoOh looks better in general, but do not purify. So if we take a look between Great League, Ultra League, and Master League, HoOh is actually going to be much better in its normal form opposed to its shadow form. This is most likely due to the shadow bonus affecting both the attack and defense respectively, where the defense is going to be reduced by 20%. So if we take a look at Ultra League and Master League specifically, you're going to want to focus on regular HoOh, and I would not purify your shadow version because, well, you can just raid for a regular HoOh, or you can just trade for a regular HoOh and try to get the best possible IV spread. But that being said, when it comes down to Great League, you're really only going to have the option to use the shadow version, because if you get HoOh from a research breakthrough, which we haven't got that in a long time, but that would be level 15, it's actually going to be above 1500 CP. So again, Shadow HoOh, while it is not going to be as good as regular HoOh, is going to be your only option when it comes down to Great League, which means you might have some flexibility here. Now again, Shadow HoOh does not really rank that well overall in the meta when it comes down to Great League, and you guys can see that on screen right now. It actually ranks pretty bad. That being said though, there are going to be some pretty good battlers out there that might find a way to make this spicy pick work. Again, Incinerate is going to deal a ton of damage. That being said though, it's going to be an extreme glass cannon, and so essentially that's going to be where it stands in PvP. Regular HoOh is going to be better than the shadow version, but for the first time ever, you can actually use HoOh in Great League, specifically with the shadow version. just given the fact that it's going to be under 1500 CP, whereas if you get HoOh in any other instance, it is going to be above 1500 CP. So pretty interesting right there, and definitely does give some people some viability to use it. Whether or not it's going to be a meta shaker has still been undecided, given that we can't actually TM Frustration anytime soon. So we won't know for a while. So when we take a look at everything all together, first of all, do not purify your Shadow HoOh if you end up getting it. Keep it as a Shadow. Second of all, I don't really recommend focusing on the Shadow Legendary. Like, if you do have some Super Rocket Radars saved up, I would just continue saving them. In my opinion, this Shadow Legendary doesn't look that crazy yet. And then leading off from the end of number 2 there, why I said yet, is because HoOh actually hasn't gotten its exclusive move yet, or its signature move I should say, Sacred Fire. This could be a game changer later down the line, and it might make Shadow HoOh a little bit better and a little bit more viable. Of course, you are going to have to use an Elite TM. I don't expect Niantic to allow you to just TM this regularly. It's going to be most likely an exclusive, raid thing that they tend to do just for money and whatnot. But it's still going to be available on HoOh, and this could be a game changer for it in the meta. We've wanted a Fire Fast move on HoOh for some time. We got Incinerate, but really when it comes down to its charge moves, it's not anything to write home about. Sacred Fire could change the game. That's what we're all hoping for. We don't know when that's going to happen, but that's essentially all that there is left on HoOh at this point. There isn't really too much viability for it unless Niantic decides to give it a different charge move in the future or a different Fire Fast move. Again, HoOh is not the worst Pokemon in the world. It's not the best Pokemon in the world. You have better options out there. You have worse options out there. But when it comes down to using, your Super Rocket Radars for this, the only thing I could really say is that if you haven't completed the Higher They Fly research quest, then of course I would use your Super Rocket Radar to complete it and get Shadow HoOh, and then unlock the new quest, save that for the next potential Shadow Legendary Pokemon, which we can safely assume is probably going to be Lugia. We don't know for sure if it's going to be Lugia, but, just given that HoOh is coming for this rotation, Lugia is most likely coming for the next rotation. Again, has not been officially confirmed. This is all speculation. But again, that is essentially how I'm going to do it personally, and of course you guys can decide for yourself whether or not you want to use your, multiple saved up Super Rocket Radars. I'm personally not going to. I'm going to continue to save them for hopefully a better Shadow Legendary later down the line, maybe Mewtwo. We'll see what happens, guys. It's looking like Lugia though, which definitely could be viable, but we'll talk about that when September arrives. Anyways though, that is going to do it for this video. As always, if you guys ended up enjoying it, if you found it helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you want to see more of these videos in the future, and I will see you all real soon in the next one.